Oh, I'm back. Yeah, so I'll make a response to, I think, the Andy video, but I really want to respond to a Holiday video. It is just the most preposterous 40 minutes ever. I mean, it needs a laugh track. I mean, it's just just so magnificently insane. I actually saved a copy because if he ever takes it down, I'll make a response to it for sure then. But just an amazing pile of absolute nonsense. I'm just going to be amazed to see what the comments are. But I'd love to see somebody defend something in his video because it is just so incoherent and insane. He titled it like, you know, Inmendham doesn't get the ethics or logic, something like that, and then he proceeds to defend a logical statement that he says has a preposterously silly conclusion. Well, I won't even go into it, but it's just amazing. And so he you know, obviously it's just more of this crap, like somehow I don't know what logic is. And what I do know, Holiday, about logic, somebody must have written this somewhere, but premises have to be more concrete than conclusions. You can't build a logical ladder out of inconcrete premises. The premises must be rock solid. That means they must have fewer moving parts in them. That means they have to have fewer vague words in them. They've got to be solid, more solid than the conclusion. You can't have a conclusion that's solid based on premises that are mushy. That's breaking the rules. You know, I guess you didn't get that memo, but it's just so wrong. But man, I really want to do it because it was just so funny. So anyway, the thing that did come to mind, though, in a simple way of explaining some of this, was that, you know, look, I mean, I could just do the same kind of logic. I could just say, you know, programmed organisms behave as they're programmed. Humans are programmed. Humans behave as they've been programmed. You know, I can build a logical tower that way. But it's just no point. You know, even use the word free will, which is so stupid. But anyway, I'll get to my point. You know, and then I'll just let it go. I'll let this part of the conversation go. Look, the simple thing is we're basically of two minds. One mind sets the agenda. So one set of programs is agenda setting, and that's our sensations: positive, negative, attraction, repulsion. The other mind, okay, is the scheming tool. Is the how to secure what it is we want. Designs a plan. The scheming is good enough. Those are our two sets of programming. So we have one set of programming that decides our sensibilities, what we enjoy, what we don't enjoy, what we're attracted to, what we're repulsed by. And another set that is of programs, the reactions, the tendencies, habits, that we acquire in terms of skill level to acquire these things. And quite obviously the scheming brain can do more than scheming now. It can scheme an entire model. So it no longer just models its part of the maze. We can see further than our own vision now. And we can see the other things that are running the game with us. And we can understand their place and empathize with their place. We can do that with our mind, with our imagination. We don't have to viscerally feel it anymore. We can like kids without the kids being our own. We can or respect them even. Appreciate them. We can elevate our senses of, you know, even refinement. This is a concept known to human beings. It's this idea of having refined sensibilities. So we can distill some of our crude nature programming into something a little more elegant. We can become elegant. We can become graceful. So yeah, I think that's a starting point, is to recognize that that's the human organism. The human organism is not disabled like any other organism, in the sense that it can understand that there is an economy it's part of, that it can't just take without there being a consequence, that something else has to be sacrificed for that. So it's not that complicated. But anyway, to me that's a reasonable enough premise and conclusion. It serves both purposes. It can be a premise for another argument, and it's certainly a solid conclusion based on evolution to understand the fact that the agenda engine isn't the same as the mechanism that decides our reaction. Anyway, yeah, on to Anekantavad. So this is just kind of useless, but I mean, these critiques are so they're so useless. This warning, Inmendham might do something to your brain, so I'm just going to give you a warning, something like that. I guess that's what the purpose of it is. I don't know what the function of this is. He's like the wise old men going to tell the other little turds, gain from my experience.
Suicide for celluloid. Welcome to this weird subculture. I'm not really as involved in it as some people are. But unfortunately, for better or for worse, the issues that are raised in this, the ontological issues, are issues that are dear to my heart.
Yeah, ontological issues. So again, the nature of life. Isn't this what we're talking about? The truth of it? What's the truth of the game? Yeah, that's an interesting subject, but your conclusion is there is no truth, and that harm doesn't matter because everything you harm dies, and once it's dead, it doesn't matter. Oof. Yeah, well, whatever, fella.
So yeah, I get involved in the debates. I like the fact that people are willing to go to the extreme, in my opinion, that the circle of people surrounding Inmendham are willing to do. I call it a cult, and I just call it as I see it.
Right, okay, I'll call it as I see it. You're a cabal of, whatever, hair-challenged, petty, psychopathic, sadistic, masochistic lunatics. Yeah. Cabal.
And it's an interesting sort of circle of people to interact with. I tend to keep my distance, but I'm very much into the whole thing, simply because I like the fact that there are people that are willing to be that much of a devil's advocate.
Yeah, whatever that means. Yeah, you're the one playing devil's advocate, right? You're the one with no horse in the race, so to speak, right? You don't give a shit. It's not your kids kind of thing. It's not your property. It's not your anything. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all some sort of, even if it was happening on Mars, just as a rational organism, I'd still become invested. I'd still care about the underdog. So I just don't even understand how you can be so glib. But whatever. A cult, a cabal of glibberites.
And they do seem to be sincere. I, for one, have gone on record many times saying that I believe that Inmendham, up to and including his pornographic and scatological insults, is completely sincere.
Yeah, well, what's the difference? Yeah, of course I'm completely sincere. Yes, and I have to concede that apparently you're completely sincere, but I don't buy it in a sense that there's no way you don't understand the difference between a good day and a bad day. So it's just idiotic to claim you can't tell the difference and that you'd rather have a good day than a bad day. On balance.
Even sincere.
On balance. It's always on balance, right? Some asshole always just say, well, 1 in a million times, and it's not about the 1 in a million. It's about on balance. It's about generally speaking. It's about if you had to do it every day, what would you want the every day to be? And it's not going to be, the answer is not going to be colon cancer. It's just not. Is it? If you had to do something forever, every day, colon cancer? I don't think so.
When he insults you, and he's sincere in the insults, he means what he says. What motivates him, I don't care. I'm not interested. I'm not terribly interested in.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's it's just kind of silly because obviously what motivates me, I think quite obviously, is panic and a recognition of terrible, horrible circumstances. So yes, of course, people who are fighting for something precious, okay, are going to be energized, right? They're going to show up for the war, and they're going to be all full of, I got to stop the monsters coming. The Nazis are coming. The Nazis are coming. I mean, what's your reaction going to be? Sit in my fucking house and drink tea? No. This is a real deal. There's real shit. You're not paying any attention to it, but there's real shit every day being pushed off the fucking board and squishing on the ground. And just because you don't hear it and you don't care about it and you couldn't give a fuck, I mean, to sit there and glibly sit there and say, I can't figure out his motivation. I can't figure out why he has a passion. Oh, yes, you can. You can just listen to me and I can explain the passion. I can explain why when I was a kid I said, what the fuck? They're burning caterpillars off the tree. The dog's only got 3 legs. That man over there's only got 1 leg. I'm saying, what the fuck? What the fuck? I shouldn't panic? It doesn't look like the boat's gonna float.
What he makes of all of this. But, I don't think he's interested in anybody else either. So,
well, not as far as it goes with people making arguments on the YouTube. That's right. You're making an argument that we should all glibly sit around and not give a fuck about horror and tragedy. Because they're all going to die anyway, so fuck them. They'll be dead, and then we can just forget about it. And that's a logical, so that's what human beings should be doing with their neurology. They should just watch TV, play with their dicks, and not bother using this brain thing to think of anything more important that needs to get done.
I'm here to use him for my own purposes, which is, as I say, as a devil's advocate, as a foil, just to help me, develop my own thinking. He's constantly drawing a caricature of everybody he ever comes up against, but I'm of the opinion that caricatures have...
And this is coming from the guy who calls it a cult. I mean, and who couldn't be bothered figuring out what my motives are. And he's talking about caricatures.
Their uses. Being parodied, ridiculed, vilified, misrepresented, libeled, maligned, slandered, all this kind of thing.
Yeah, wrong. Yeah, sorry. No sale. You're the one pointing the finger. The guilty finger. He said guilt. I mean the irony of it. Guilt-mongering over the word guilt. He guilted somebody. I'm not guilting you about it. I'm not guilting him about it. I'm not accusing him of being a guilt-monger. I'm just pointing out that he's a guilt-monger. Wait a minute. So if I point out somebody's a nasty murderer, I'm guilt-mongering, but it's okay for you to point out that I'm a guilt-mongerer for making the poor murderer feel guilty about murdering. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Isn't quite as nasty as one might think, or it isn't quite as empty and useless as one might think. Because we all live in society, and it's useful to know what the negative opinions are of us. You want to know?
Well, I don't know. It's not that useful. There's a point where you just say, hey, there's another guy sticking his finger in his ass and rubbing it on the YouTube and telling me it's a fucking opinion. Whew. Well, I don't think I'll go scratch and sniff that one. So, yeah, to me, you're all smelling the same.
Negative opinion of yourself, you'll get it from him and the circle of people surrounding him. You want a negative opinion of anything, you'll get that from these people.
Oh, sure you will. Yeah, anything? I don't think we've said anything negative about condom usage. I think we've said sex is fun. So, yeah, we're all pro-sex, just don't have babies. I mean, I've never said a bad thing about... Well, I'm not even going to get into it. But, there are some things that are worth something. I mean, it's not my fault that the game of life is kind of one-dimensional. Yeah, there isn't a whole lot to it, okay? There's shoving things in here and shoving that in things. Is there something else going on? Is there some other circle I should be interested in? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't have much good to say because, yeah, it's all made out of shit. It actually is all made out of shit. All the atoms were at one time or another shit. All of them at one time or another came out of an asshole somewhere on this planet. It's all made out of shit.
And the advice that I would bring to the table here, assuming that
yes, assuming that you need my advice, and I know you didn't solicit it, but I do understand everything about everything when it comes to this whole thing about saying who you are and what you are and being a personality on YouTube and saying absolutely nothing and jibber-jabbering and mush-mushing. I mean, look at me. I have gotten away with complete murder here. I've put words in Vonnegut's mouth and in fucking Orwell, and I've made them say things like, torture's about torturing. It's not about getting any information. Yeah, nobody thought of, people didn't think of torture for the sake of getting information. They thought of, let's pretend we're getting information so we can torture. I mean, it's like they didn't invent the law just so cops could rape and pillage. Yes, cops are now raping and pillaging, okay, so they're doing it through the law. But it's not like we invented the idea of laws because we figured, oh yeah, there'll be a bunch of sadistic fucks who will like to abuse us citizens. I mean, the fact that it turned out that way, that yes, torturers happen to be people who like to torture, generally speaking, just like physicists happen to be people who like to do physical equations and things and understand the universe. I mean, it's not a coincidence. And so it's not a coincidence that sadistic lunatics want to be hypocrite cops. I mean, well, I'm making an argument, right? But this is the kind of crap he spews on the internet. And somebody's got to say, whoa, that one stunk, fella. You can't get there from there. That doesn't make any sense. You know, you're short a hell of a lot of dots to be able to get from there to there.
you're going to last at all long here if you're even remotely interested, which you may very well not be. The first taste might have disgusted you to the point where you say, the hell with this.
Yeah, well, you know, it's probably my reaction, or his, well, I could say it's probably anybody's reaction that's gotten too close to him. Woof, yeah, the hell with this. Sometimes you can judge a book by its cover. Or something like that. Excuse me, I have to make my dinner. Yeah, I do have to multitask a bit sometimes, occasionally. And yeah, that's what I'm obligated to do. So I'll get back to it very shortly. Just want to start the process. And yeah, I shouldn't talk about starting. I should just get to it. That's going to fall off with that. I need to clean this house. That's what I really need to do. I'm going to make that priority 1. Well, on list 4. Yeah, priority 1 on list 4.
Keep your sense of humor, keep to the point. Always assume that he's going to misrepresent everything that you ever say. Never, ever let him get under your skin.
Oh, whatever. This is the same guy, too, who, like, you can't tell the difference through the word guilt and accountability. So if you have some notion that accountability is a good idea, he's going to call you a guilt monger. He's going to say you're only doing that for a petty, sadistic reason. You just want to hurt people. So when you impose accountability on people, actually oblige them to meet some sort of standard of behavior, you're just trying to hurt people. You're not trying to protect victims. So when you complain about rapists or pedophiles or want to pass a law that might protect children, you're not doing the responsible right thing. You're being a sadistic motherfucker who just wants to impose guilt on people who can't help themselves. Yeah, that's his theory. All you defenders of this crackpot. Alright, he really believes people can't help themselves. They have a desire or an impulse, and there's no way to control it. And we should have no expectation that they should control any level of it. Any abuse is good abuse. Yeah, that's what he thinks. It's the truth.
Never let him get your goat. Never let him make you angry. Not for a second.
Why not? I thought you were a kind of guy who was like, I can take the cold, I'm Mr. Tough Guy, I can eat dead rats and maggots, and yeah, I can go out in the woods and do all kinds of shit. You can't take a little bit of anger? Huh? Anger is something to worry about? Anger is a bad thing? You shouldn't be angry at assholes? So you think somebody's an asshole, you're confident they're an asshole, they're doing asshole things on the internet, and you shouldn't get angry? Yeah, get angry, damn it. Yeah, get angry, damn it. Man up.
And be as persistent as he is. He is maddeningly persistent and driven. I believe that he lives for YouTube.
No, I live for trying to prevent myself being born in Indonesia. It's not really that complicated. I know how I got here, okay? I didn't vote for it. I didn't say, please, let me be born. And so I know that I'm going to just, as long as we make people vulnerable to it, I know I'm going to show up again. I'm going to have to go through the same basic bullshit, figure out that, oh, it's evolution. Oh, these people have it totally wrong. Oh, they're totally fucking idiots. Every fucking atom has been through something's anus. Why do I want to play the everything on Earth has been through an anus game? Why do I want to do that? Doesn't sound like I have to go through the same exact bullshit process over and over and over again. That in itself is enough of a horror. But then you calculate the people who are the elephant man or have some other disability or born without a tongue or some other kind of insanely horrible thing. And those people have to do it over and over and over again. I mean, God fucking damn. And you glib little fuckers sit there in your comfortable little lives with your, oh, I like to eat some frozen maggots, pretending it don't matter. Pretending it's not your fault. Pretending it's not your fucking fault. Shit.
Gives them an enormous advantage over other people. So I would say, if, of course, and that's a big if, you don't walk away from this whole thing in disgust, know what and who you're dealing with. He's living proof that you don't need a god for there to be witch doctors. You don't need...
Yeah, so it's a voodoo philosophy. So evolution is voodoo. The notion that suffering, that feelings is the source of value, that sentient beings is the creation of them, the existence of them is what gives meaning to existence. There would be no meaning in the entire universe if there was not sentient beings in it. That's voodoo. Voodoo philosophy. The truth is, the magic unicorn says, love the anus. Love being made out of shit. Love being a player in the shit game. Yeah, whatever. You're an idiot.
Religion, for there to be people casting spells over you. He's living proof that you can...
Spell casting. I mean, I'm not the one using words like ontology and equilibrium popistony. I'm not the one doing that shit, retard. I'm not swinging all these bullshit words all over the place. Intersubjective agreement. I mean, come on. You're the ones playing with the voodoo words. And it is doo-doo. Voodoo-doo.
Altruism and use it as an excuse for absolutely uncompromising sadism.
Right, okay, so it's sadistic, okay? Get what he's saying here, right? Preventing harm, which is altruism, sacrificing for others, attempting, instead of calmly making my dinner, I'm doing this bullshit. Some sacrifice of my comfort to listen to inanely, horrifically irritating videos from people I find horrifically obnoxious, so fucking repulsive. Real appetite destroyers. Anyway, beyond that, it doesn't even take any altruism, right? It's not altruism not to make a nuclear power plant that irradiates people, right? You don't have to be altruistic to do that. All you have to do is you don't have to sacrifice anything really meaningful, do you? Except gluttony, piggery. Nothing big for you is at stake. For you to recognize that other people have a welfare interest, and you shouldn't gratuitously or insensitively or recklessly or sloppily or for minor frivolous indulgences put them at jeopardy or risk, right? So by doing that, by simply doing that, that tiny bit of responsible thinking, recognizing that you shouldn't drive your car on the road if you know the brakes are bad, that to him is sadistic. You're being a sadistic bastard if you inform your neighbor that you heard their brakes squeaking and you don't think they should take their car out on the road. If you do that, you're guilt-mongering. You're a sadistic fuck.
Because that's what this cult essentially deals in, is denunciations.
Kabbalah, 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 Kabbalah. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, every now and then he does that.
Sadism and guilt tripping. Guilt is gigantic. Shame is huge in this cult.
No accountability is recognizing that the little skeleton, okay, on your dining room table in the centerpiece there, when you've picked it all to pieces, that organism had a certain integrity, and that you have stripped it, okay, that you have exploited the fuck out of that little bastard, and you maybe should be able to do something in your life to justify it. Maybe once in a while you should actually do something of some merit, okay, to justify what you have taken and taken and taken and taken and taken.
If you want to actually study those issues, and guilt in particular fascinates me, is something that is pushed beyond the...
To make it clear again, right? I've only made videos saying this over and over again. So here's a guy who says other people are putting words in his mouth and mischaracterizing him. I've always said it as many times as I can possibly say it. I think anyone who's feeling guilt, don't do it. I think it's a stupid, idiotic emotion. I don't think anybody should ever waste time, any time whatsoever, feeling guilt. Okay? The only thing you should ever do is recognize responsibility and try to act accountably, as if you're going to be accountable. That's all. Okay? Don't bother with guilt, though. It's a waste of time. Don't hurt yourself over your failures. Compensate for them. Fix it by making something else better. If you broke something, fix something else that's broken. There, not complicated. Don't waste time feeling guilty. Waste your time. Use your time making yourself immune to the accusation, okay, that you did nothing about it.
Kafkaesque sort of limits. Guilt is up there with the end is near type, Old Testament type prophet who...
Yeah, right. So that's another theory of his, right? So just up there next to liver cancer is I felt the guilt pang. So right next to liver cancer in his book, you know, and I don't know, name something horrible, you know, ectopic pregnancy or something, and you're a man. Yeah, right next to that is a guilt pang. Yeah, crisis. You know, 1 AM 12, 1 AM 12, we have a crisis. Somebody had a guilt pang. They felt a little bit responsible for something they actually did do. You know, they cheated on the wife and got herpes, and, you know, they're feeling a little bit bad. So, we got to fix it for them, you know, because we can't have people feeling guilty and bad about fucking somebody else over. That would be just horrible if people were discouraged from fucking each other over by some sort of mechanism that deterred the behavior. Yeah, that would be terrible if we could be self-correcting in the sense that we would feel bad and recognize that we don't want to feel bad doing bad. That would be horrible.
Is convinced that this evil world will be destroyed soon and you stupid sinners are going to go down with it.
No, you're not going to go down with it. You're going to take us down with it. You're going to create a dystopia. We're going to live in some kind of AK-47 shitland all of your creation. That's right, you monsters will perpetuate harm and suffering on this planet. Cancer will have fun, okay, for decades, centuries to come because of assholes like you.
And he's an atheist. That's the fascinating thing about it all.
Yeah, that's right. I don't believe in a god. I wish there was a god to smite you fuckers, but there ain't. So I have to do it. No choice.
He's completely irrational, all in the name of reason. And
right, okay. So I would like to hear one of these irrational premises. What is one of my irrational proclamations? Could you give me an exact quote of one of my irrationalities beyond the ones like "you suck"? I mean, one of the more popular statements. Precious commodities controlled by crude forces. That's irrational theory. That's not what's happening on Earth. Please, you're an asshole.
He is a religious fanatic.
With no God and no I'm not saying a tree told me, okay, that it's precious commodities controlled by crude forces. I'm not getting a dogma from a tree somewhere, am I? It's not some edict from nowhere. It's an edict from rational dissection of our existence. You're the one who believes in the fairy tales, fuckhead. The eternal everything, the inevitable this, that, right? You have no evidence of any inevitables. You have no evidence that there's life anywhere else in the universe, no logical evidence, and yet you claim it. Hey.
All in the name of atheism and irreligion. He's
no, in the name of scientific dissection of our reality. Disciplined dissection of the truth out of the mush. We look at the shit, smell the shit. Some people might want to taste it. I don't really care for this process of tasting it. Live in it for a little while, and then you declare it shit. Yeah, that's what I say we should do. I say the evidence is in, the shit is shit. The thing smelling like shit and looking like shit and acting like shit and being like shit is actually fucking shit.
Sadistic prick, all in the name of altruism. It's real.
Now, all in the name of taking responsibility for your existence, using your brain to logically deduce how can I maximize the productivity of my interaction. How can I glean the most positive value and reduce the negative impact of my existence? Oh, horror, horror. What a terrible, awful thing to do with a brain. Yes, that's just sounds like just complete nonsense. Try to deduce what is the most efficient and productive course of action and then attempt to implement it. Oh my horror, horror.
It's quite a show to watch. But you got to see it for what it is and never get sucked into the mind games. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of people just eventually...
Yeah, the logic game, right? Don't get sucked into being logical. Just stay a Randian fuck. Keep your face buried in her flappy, skanky vagina so you can see nothing else but uber cunt.
Fuck you! They can't take it anymore. That's human nature. Can you blame people for that? But I'm one of the fortunate...
Well, yeah, just tell them to toughen up, man. Tell them to read some Nietzsche, man. Yeah. Yeah. Inmendham won't kill you. He'll make you stronger.
The people that I've never fallen...
But frankly, he won't, because what he will do is bury you under a big pile of reality, and you just ain't going to be able to dig out of it with your little shit shovel.
For that.
Bullshit shovel.
I guess I was warned a lot when I first got involved with what I'm getting into. Plus, I have a YouTube persona, which doesn't really correspond to my actual personality in real life.
Yes, so unlike you, I'm not a fake. Yay! My persona is exactly the same in real life. I've often been threatened with imprisonment.
Kind of a nice guy type persona, talking head sort of thing. I'm not a nice guy at all.
Yeah, that's the funny joke between us, right? Is that, yeah, I'm actually the really nice guy who's like always generous and does things for people just because they walk up to me and ask. So, yeah, that's the difference. I'm a really cool, nice guy. I'm really smart. I'm really sensible and logical. You're evil, maniacal, malicious, sadistic, crazy. Oh, yeah, I knew all that somehow. Somehow I could glean that from your philosophy. That's who you would likely be in real life, as a shithead. Yeah, I predicted it. Oh, gee, I'm really good at this. Sorry, I'm still waiting on dinner. I have to do this. Hurry up, hurry up,
I've been
hurry up.
involved in union politics for 20 years. Nice people don't last in that kind of an environment. But...
I wonder what side he was on. Ooh. I mean, either side's a no-win for him, right? So if he's part of it, he's just gangs, right? Extortionist gangs. And if he's trying to break the union, then he's, yeah, randy and evil. There's no way to win in that argument.
For the purposes of YouTube, I've got this, talking head here who acts a certain way. I've created a character. Sometimes that's useful, especially when you want to get involved with people whom you utterly disagree with. And
yeah, he won't be a propagandist.
Viciously, like he will.
Propagandist. Yeah, it's the exact tactics of a propagandist. This is what Big Brother would do, okay, if Big Brother wasn't a fantasy character.
In my case, they're only attacking a persona that doesn't really exist.
I mean, he would try to make idiotic philosophies sound like they're reasonable. Like Nietzsche. Nietzsche would be, if Nietzsche was alive today, right, he'd probably be a free market advocate, right, who would basically say, fuck you, if you're poor, die. And, the irony is all these life cripples, are big Nietzsche fans. If they had to live in Nietzsche's world, they would be fucking in a cardboard box. And so, it's just kind of a funny irony. I think it's a hilarious irony, actually. All ironies are funny, but that's a particularly funny one. Yeah, my dinner's really done. I really got to finish this. I'm going to have soggy noodles.
So, have fun. Use him for your own purposes. Use the caricature that he paints of you.
Oh, really? Whatever. Isn't that just a brilliant thing to do with your life? Use shit up. Yeah, don't try to make a better argument. Don't try to be the better man. No, be a user. Yeah. Cool.
Use him with a clear conscience. Why not? That's exactly what he does.
No, it isn't exactly what he does. I'm not using you, idiot. You think you're doing something for me? You think my life is improved, or me having to even waste my time? Like I said, how many times have I said it? I mean, I'm just preposterously amazed that I got on the internet, a place I thought intelligent people would be, and I have to argue in defense of theories like suffering sucks. You know how profoundly disappointed I am? The depths of the disappointment. I just can't even come close to expressing the depth of my disappointment. That this is what I have to do. I have to waste my time explaining why, because the Holocaust, all the victims are dead, it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, now we're done. We've completed the task. So, anything else? These gloves, I can't find my damn oven mitt. Anyway, I have to get these damn paintings done too. Never finished. Still working on it. But, yeah, I gotta get to it. So yeah, maybe some next video or something. It is the weekend. Might be a good time for a long, rambly video while I'm painting. Anyway, sorry. Till next time. And such. I think that's it. That really is that.